WrestleMania 40 is this weekend, and dare I say, there hasn't been this much interest in wrestling by casuals and diehards alike since the Attitude Era, The Rock, Stone Cold, D-Generation X, Goldberg, NWO. And if you follow me on social media, you know that I'm a huge wrestling fan. And I want to share with you guys what I think is going to happen this weekend. The writing has been very strong, and it looks like a lot of things are leading up to culminate within the WWE universe. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Armand Wake Up, and I provide nuance to new creatures. I'm a curator, I'm a communicator, and I'm a connector, also a creative. Head over to ArmandWakeUp.com if you want to connect with me a little bit further. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Y'all know the whole spiel. Let's get into predictions for WrestleMania 40. So it is a 2-night event. Let's start with night 1. I think with this one, I'm gonna start at the top, start at the main event, work my way down, and then night 2, I'll start with, the undercard and go all the way up to the main event there. So the main event for night 1 of WrestleMania 40 is a tag team match for the ages. You've got the Bloodline, The Rock making his return, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, and they are taking on Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. The premise and the stipulation is if the Bloodline wins, then the main event of night 2, which is Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, will be under Bloodline rules, which basically means anything goes. They showed us what that meant on Monday night with Cody Rhodes taking on Solo Sikoa and, The Rock and Roman basically whipping the both of them to end the show, which was crazy. It was a really dope ending. I think this makes all the sense in the world for the Bloodline to win night 1, primarily because you've got The Rock doing some of the best character work of his entire career. And so because of that, you want to feature him on both nights. Give him a reason to appear Saturday and Sunday. And the easiest way to do that is if you have the Bloodline, win the match and have the main event of night 2 go under Bloodline rules. You also want Roman looking strong heading into night 2, and you also want Cody working from the bottom, meaning you want him to be the underdog. He's gonna take a lot of damage. Seth Rollins as well, who I think will probably take the pinfall. He's going to take the most damage because that's gonna set up what will happen with his match with Drew McIntyre night 2. I will get to that shortly. For the Women's World Championship, you've got the challenger, Becky Lynch, taking on the champion, Rhea Ripley. I think this is also pretty cut and dry. I think Rhea Ripley will, say that 5 times fast, Rhea Ripley, Jesus. I think Rhea's gonna win pretty decisively for a few reasons. I think she is very hot right now. I think she has eclipsed the Judgment Day. I think she has overshadowed them. I think she is a bigger star. She doesn't need the group. And I think post WrestleMania, we will begin to see that group dissolve. And I'll get to that in a second. And I think she's due for a face turn. I think watching her match with Nia Jax, granted it was in her hometown, but she worked that match as a face. When she shows up, she is a face. She gets cheered. People like her. People want to like her. And I think that WWE has acknowledged that. Triple H has acknowledged that. And I think they're going to, course correct and book her going forward as a face. Becky Lynch doesn't need the title. I think she's strong enough to main event. I would have preferred to see Rhea and Bianca, but there's still time to make that match. Becky's gonna make Rhea look really good. I got Rhea winning in a pretty good match. I think this will be a good match. The Intercontinental Championship, we have got Gunther, the champion, taking on Sami Zayn. I am personally Gunther Hive. I think Gunther is the greatest wrestler in the world today. Gunther is so fire. He has been the wrestler to reestablish the Intercontinental title and bring it back to prominence. But I feel like it's time for him to transition out of holding the title. I think he's done everything that he could do with that title. And I think Sami Zayn is the perfect underdog to take the belt from him. I think it's gonna be a great match. It will likely steal the show of night 1. And now you can slot Gunther into the world title hunt because as these titles change hands, we need fresh faces presenting themselves as challengers. And I think Gunther 100% should be first in line to get a shot at either one of the world titles, but I'll get there. All right, Battle of the Brothers, Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. I think this is pretty cut and dry. I think with the Bloodline storyline coming to an end, this is one of the stories that you sew up, and I think you obviously book Jey to win. Jey's clearly the guy, and I think Jimmy, more important than that, Jimmy wants to put his brother over. I think that's pretty cut and dry, and I also think that we'll see the Usos reunite before the end of the year, but I also think that Jey will get a solo title run sometime in 2024. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this one. 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. So the champions are the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor, and they are taking on Awesome Truth, which is the Miz and R-Truth, DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, the New Day, the New Catch Republic, and the name of the team is A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. All right, sure. I think this is very, very obvious. I think the Judgment Day will lose the titles. Again, like I said earlier, they have ran their course. And let me give the Judgment Day props. I actually mentioned them in my red button freestyle. This is Monday Night Raw, Judgment Day in every segment. They carried 2023 and they did a really good job with what they were given. And I think they've done all that they could do. I think Damian Priest is another person who is ready for a face singles run. So I think when the group breaks up, I think along with Rhea, Damian is going to be positioned to be a star in the main event scene 100%. With that said, I've got the Awesome Truth winning the tag team gold. You wrap up that story, R-Truth, whole Judgment Day thing. He was basically Sami Zayn in the Bloodline for the last few months. And you give him and Miz a feel-good moment. So I got Awesome Truth winning the titles. Okay, 6-woman tag. You've got Damage Control, which is Dakota Kai and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kari Sane against Jade, Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. Triple H booking all of the same-raced people together. I think it's pretty obvious that, this is set up for Jade to look strong and also for Bianca to continue her WrestleMania undefeated streak and her title of Mrs. WrestleMania. And I also think that Damage Control is on their way out. I hate this whole thing about Jade not being that good. When she debuted on SmackDown, she looked really good. I think this will allow her to adjust to the WWE system because I do not think she's as bad as people say she is. I think she catches a lot of flack because she is a assertive black woman in a very passive-aggressively racist culture, which is, the internet wrestling community. There's definitely other women wrestlers that they love that aren't as good as her, aren't as polarizing, and they treat them like they're amazing. But I'm not gonna get into that because I'm not about to down nobody. And then we have the last match of night one. We've got Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee taking on Dominik, Mysterio, and Santos Escobar. Rey Mysterio is at the point of his career where he wants to give, so I could 100% see him taking a pinfall. Dragon Lee just needs to be showcased. You can let Dragon Lee get off all his Lucha Libre moves and he's straight. Dominik is going to shine through his character work. He is an amazing heel and I think he should low-key always be heel through the duration of his career. He's just killing it. I think the person who benefits the most out of this match and who needs to look the strongest is Santos Escobar. If he pins Rey Mysterio, that is a cosign and that allows him to have momentum, through the rest of the year. Okay, so that concludes night one. Let's get into night two. I said I was gonna start at the bottom and work my way up to the main event. So the first match is going to be Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against the Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain. I can't hold you. For the life of me, I do not understand how they are booking Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley should be one of your top guys. He should be up there with Drew and Seth and Cody. Roman never beat him. Throughout Roman's entire reign, no pun intended, he never beat Bobby Lashley. And Roman ran through everybody. And the complaint that people had was, well, there's nobody else for Roman to work with. Bobby Lashley 100%, but for whatever reason, they just wouldn't pull the trigger on him, and I don't know why. And as for the Street Profits, I really, really like them as well. Again, I just don't think they know what to do with them as much as great of a job as Triple H has been doing with the booking, like Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, and even bringing B-Fab in, it just seems very directionless. And then even like Karrion Kross, like how many more like aggressive, menacing white men with long hair do we need in wrestling, right? Like his gimmick is like professional wrestler with clocks. Like I just haven't been a big Karrion Kross fan. I do like the Authors of Pain. I like the stable in theory. They just haven't executed as well as I would like for them to. I guess I got Karrion Kross and Authors of Pain winning only because Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits they just look directionless. They just don't know what to do with them, and I'm not a big fan of that. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I ain't gonna hold you. LA Knight has taken a bit of a back seat in the last few months. I went to SummerSlam in Detroit last year, and when I tell you the entire crowd was saying, yeah, all night, LA Knight was that guy, and when he won that Battle Royal, it felt like they were really setting him up to have some sort of prominent reign with some sort of title. Intercontinental, maybe he was gonna dethrone Gunther, US title, something. But I think between Punk coming back, Orton coming back, The Rock coming back, there's just no room for him in that picture. I do believe that WWE still believes in him very much. So give him a spot on the card where he's working with one of the greatest wrestlers of all time in AJ Styles, right? I think AJ is also someone who's a little directionless since returning from injury, but I think that's just because they've got so many different pieces running. Naomi as well, I didn't mention her in the previous match, but I feel like Naomi and AJ are in a similar vein where like, they already had so many stories coming in. WrestleMania is gonna be a big reset, and that'll allow characters like them to kind of get reestablished and get their own footing. With that said, I think they're gonna have a really good match, and I think LA Knight will win. All right, United States Championship triple threat. You've got Logan Paul, who's the champ. You've got Kevin Owens, and you've got Randy Orton. I feel like people really haven't gotten a chance to like celebrate Orton coming back. And I feel like a US title run will, number one, position him in a way where people can like cheer him and he can have a good run and ultimately put a young guy over. He could, put Jey Uso over down the line, somebody, and give them the title. But we all know that Randy Orton works best as a heel. We all know that Kevin Owens works best as a heel. Logan Paul is a natural heel. So maybe not tonight, but in the near future, I see either KO or Randy Orton turning heel pretty soon. KO seems kind of just floating around, just kind of paint by numbers, but I don't think he's gonna win. This will showcase Logan Paul because he's been doing such a great job this year, exceeding pretty much everybody's expectations of what he would do. But additionally, I think this is an opportunity to showcase Orton and give him a title. The WWE Women's Championship, you've got Io Sky taking on Bayley. I think this is another cut and dry. This is very obvious. Bayley will win. I think this is the run that Bayley should have had when she first got called up to the main roster, and she had the ponytail and the floaties, and she just like was primed to print money for kids, and they just didn't know what to do with her. I think this is an opportunity to reset that. I don't think she's gonna go back to that gimmick. I think she's a different person now, but she's gonna have a really, really good face run moving forward. And I could see her being the reason why Bianca turns heel. They've been kind of teasing that for a little bit. The other thing I want to say about Bayley is that they threw everything at Bayley, and she has made the best out of lots of bad situations. She is damage control. There is no damage control without her. And I think based off of her loyalty and her ability to basically, make sugar out of doo-doo, I think they're going to reward her with a good title run. The World Heavyweight Championship. Seth Rollins takes on Drew McIntyre. Listen, y'all. Listen. Drew McIntyre has been doing the best character work of his career. I've never been a big Drew McIntyre guy, but what he's been doing over the since turning heel, maybe about 5 months ago, he's been doing an excellent job. He is one of the most entertaining factors of WWE Monday Night Raw. He's been killing it. And so I think the obvious story to tell is Seth is so focused on the bloodline that he is overlooking Drew McIntyre. And Drew is just waiting in the wings, biding his time. He only has time to focus on Seth Rollins. And I think Seth will come into that match less than 100%. That's the story they'll tell. Drew is gonna beat him within an inch of his life, beat him, take the title, and then you let Drew hold the title until SummerSlam. When Punk returns, you can do Punk and Drew, and you can give Punk the title the same way that you're gonna give Punk the title here at Mania, because the original plan was supposed to be Punk and Rollins, with Punk going over. And finally, speaking of titles, the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. You've got Cody Rhodes, you've got Roman Reigns. When Roman beat Cody last year, I was on record saying it was the right call. And in hindsight, I was right. They haven't really done a whole lot with Roman this year. I felt like he could have used another program within the last 12 months, but clearly he's the end game. I know Rock is the final boss, but Roman is still the end game. Roman is still that guy. But I think this is obviously like Cody's time to finish the story, right? So let me just explain that with a few caveats, and then we're gonna get out of here. First of all, I don't think Roman is going to retain. People are saying, yay, they're gonna have him beat Hogan's streak. Here's the thing about WWE and their streaks. They primarily want people to beat the streaks of people that aren't in good graces with the company. So for example, the reason why the New Day beat Demolition's record was because Demolition was suing WWE at the time. And then on the other hand, like if you look at Gunther beating the Honky Tonk Man's record, I believe Honky Tonk Man is in good standing with the company, but they needed to reestablish a secondary title to prominence. Also, I think you'll see a secondary women's championship this year too, side note. So with that said, I don't think they're really pressed to have Roman beat the record, because Hogan, Bruno, Bob Backlund, those are all guys that are in good standing with the company. Roman is in that category. I think that's enough. So either you give extended reigns like John Cena, Ric Flair, 15, 16, 17, that's how you get in the building, or you get an extensive reign. Like, that's still pretty impressive to have held the title as long as Roman's held it. So I think that's enough. And I also think it's time to set up Roman and Rock. I heard someone say that, yeah, you can do Roman Rock at SummerSlam, but the theory I heard that was really interesting was someone said with WWE moving to Netflix, you can like have the main event be the match. So for example, in boxing, it's, Tyson and Holyfield, right? On the same token, like Rock versus Roman can be the event. That can be like a one-night thing. It could be a small card like they do with NXT, 4 matches, 5 matches. You don't have to wait that long to get that match off. You could really do that, sometime within this year, if not SummerSlam. I'll say this, 2 more things. I don't think that Rock turns on Roman. So if you know anything about Samoan culture, you know that they are a very proud people. You know that they are very respectful, and they're very family oriented. So I don't necessarily see The Rock turning on Roman for Cody. You know what I'm saying? With Jimmy and Jade, that was like internal beef within the family. Like, that's gonna happen. But like Rock doing that for Cody just seems kind of like unrealistic. I think what'll happen is, because it's bloodline rules, there'll be mad shenanigans. But I think that when Roman loses, and Rock will be like, you brought shame on the family. And I think that's gonna drive Roman crazy. And I think that ultimately sets up Rock Roman. And I think that sets up Roman to be like super face, but he'll also be working part-time, so it won't be like on some John Cena stuff, right? As for Cody, my hot take is he's not gonna have a lengthy reign. If you know Cody's daddy, he wasn't really the champ for a long time. He liked chasing, and I think Cody likes chasing too. I think WWE likes their top stars to chase. If you remember Stone Cold and The Rock, like, they didn't really get lengthy reigns. They were often chasing, the corporation, Mr. McMahon, The Undertaker. Like, when they were faces, when they were good guys, they were often like chasing and looking for retribution because they were done dirty and screwed out of the title. And I think that'll be Cody. So who's gonna beat Cody? coming out of, I think his reign might last till SummerSlam or something like that, Survivor Series. It'll be decent, but you got Gunther, who knows? You could have The Rock. There's lots of places you could go. I'm not quite sure. Y'all let me know. I'm gonna end this video here. Let me know what you think. Give me your predictions. Give me your hot takes. Leave a comment down below. I don't really give my wrestling hot takes, and I'm still trying to find a place to discuss wrestling with you guys. Just stay tuned, and I'm sure I'll have that soon enough. So thank you guys for your time. I know this was a super long video, but I told y'all I love wrestling. So my name is Armand Wake Up. Y'all be cool how y'all be cool, man. I'm out.